Hello, everybody. This is StoryMoss, and a beautiful invitation for a recording of a conversation between Morag Gamble, um, permaculture extraordinaire from Australia, and Michael Skeeter Pilarski, the founder of the Global Earth Repair Foundation, who is about ready to host incredible lineup of speakers at the Global Earth Repair Convergence early May, May 7, 11, in Port Townsend in person, but also online, open to the world with special programs in Africa and Brazil. And I thought of asking both of you to join us today because we need to bring more people on the beautiful journey of permaculture and social permaculture, people permaculture, as a way to engage more of us into the healing of Earth and the healing of our collective heart. I'm so excited about the lineup and the program that you've created for the conversions, Michael. So I would like you to start and tell us more about the event, please.
Okay, well, I'd like to start back a while ago. So, Bill Mollison and David Holmgren invented the term permaculture about 1975, 74, 75, and it really, by the time I took my first course in 1982, it was already spreading to many parts of the world. And since then, it's just gone so far. I mean, permaculture now has somewhere around 1 million permaculture design course graduates in every country in the world. There's some, and it's always been so grassroots and so you might say radical that it's never really got into the mainstream or made a lot of difference with the policymakers because we want to change the world so much that most of the policymakers are a little bit afraid of us, I think. So the permaculture is about creating sustainable human habitats. And what we're trained to do is to take any piece of land, a small backyard, a farm, a city, a country, you name it, we can make a permaculture design for it to make it much more sustainable and to make it be in harmony with the planet. And so we, over the years, there's been so many of us working on this that we really have I'd say that as a group, the permaculture movement has a better grasp of how to fix things in the world than any other group in the planet or any other discipline. And so I'm really pleased to be part of the permaculture movement. And so over the years, more and more people have come on board. There's been people have come and gone. Some have, and here's Morag Gamble. I'm just thrilled to be with you because you've at this point have really built up this great reputation, and you've done so much education. So you're really you have your what they always say, the finger on the pulse of permaculture. Maybe you would just say a few things about the role of permaculture in the world today.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for having me, and thank you, Emmanuel, for hosting this. And I'm really excited about coming along, even if it's only online to the Global Earth Repair Convergence. I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to be there all 3 days online and joining in as much as I possibly can, and I hope everyone does come along. Um, Gosh, I just wanted to pick up on a couple of threads of what you were saying there around that it's such a grassroots movement that it's rippled out across the planet, and that because it's so radical, that it's somehow gone unseen. Now, part of what I'm noticing is that its power is in the fact that it's radical, meaning at the roots of things, like it's spread, it's myceliated, which is the term that I'm using about the theory of change that I'm seeing happening everywhere. It's it's not that it's not there. It is everywhere. You don't have to scratch very far in any community anywhere to find someone doing this kind of work. And I'd also like to maybe challenge the notion that the policymakers aren't really thinking about it. I talk to architects, planners, designers, people in all different levels of government and in all different businesses who somewhere have found a connection with permaculture, have noticed it, have maybe done a course, and have not necessarily calling what they do permaculture, but are deeply informed by it or inspired by it. And the shift that they're bringing into their work carries the seeds that permaculture have planted there. So I really feel that even though there's perhaps, a million or maybe many more, because most aren't counted, I don't think, people who have graduated from permaculture, it is so much broader than we can even possibly imagine. It's like the cat's out of the bag, and there's no way of putting it back in because it makes sense. It gives a sense of possibility. It gives a sense of meaning. It gives a sense that we can make a difference. It gives us permission to care deeply and to connect with people around the world who are doing this. So I feel incredibly positive, because I have this sense that despite all of the things that are going on in the world at the moment, that when we come back to this kind of conversations that are these kind of conversations that are had in the permaculture world, something shifts. It shifts at a level of how we feel about what's going on. It shifts in how we perceive what's possible. It shifts the relationships so that we find, we can actually do this together. We may not have to be in the same organization or even the same place, but we know that as a global planetary response, we are part of that movement. And so I call this the sort of the myceliation of permaculture. And I feel that once we know that or notice that and tend to that, so much more is possible. So, if you see like a project that's really flowering, it's like the mushrooming of that mycelial network. And if you add more compost, then you get, more mushrooms coming up, and then they'll spore, and you've got billions of new possibilities. It's really that's leaning into that sense of abundance and possibility that I feel that wherever you look, permaculture has somehow or related. I don't even think we need to keep it directly in the permaculture either. It's those practices and ways of thinking, the systemic ways of thinking that have really taken this on it to heart and see that this is the way that we need to move forward. Yeah, I think we are in a good place as communities at the local level.
Amen. And yeah, as you pointed out there, the just knowing, once you really deeply know permaculture and you see that we have all these solutions and that we can make any part of the world just so abundant and so beautiful and so ecologically sound, it just really helps your spirit, because the world is full of horrible things going on, and there is a lot of destruction going on. But it really helps to know that that we do have solutions, and we do know the way out, and we are gradually reaching more people. So I'm heartened by being a permaculturist, and I think the world needs a lot more, needs hope so much. And if you want more hope, go and study permaculture. And so one of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm working on this global earth repair convergence. And I've identified at this point 140 different kinds of solutions, what we call nature-based solutions, or soil, water, and earth and animal creature-based solutions that can be done with shovels and seeds and soil and rocks. It doesn't. We can fix the world without a lot of high technology. In fact, the high technology oftentimes gets in the way, and that's what does a lot of the destruction. So we can fix the world up, and we know how to do it. And so what we're doing in this convergence is trying to really bring that out to the world. We're trying to bring together as many of these experts as possible, a lot of permaculturists and a lot of other people that carry similar disciplines, the solutions, and bring them together. And each one of them can talk about what their solution or what their knowledge contributes to the whole, because it's a global thing, how we're going to fix the planet. And so we're going to outline information about all or almost all those 140 solutions. And we're going to have a directory to all the events and all the talks, and a directory to where are the best books and the best movies and the best projects and the best people, where we're just trying to point the world and say, look, here's the solutions. We know how to do it. Let's have more peace and kindness and work together and fix things up. And so that's my current project, to elucidate and educate and make a directory to all these solutions, and a lot of them are associated with permaculture, but it's much, of course, grander than that. I'll just mention one particular thing I've really been entranced by lately is the Bill Zedek structures, or he has a book out called Induced Meandering, and it's a way of fixing incised streams. And permaculture knows these kind of things. You put baffles in incised stream beds and gullies, and gradually you catch more of the silt, and you can build it back up again till you get the soil back up to the original level, and then you have a big floodplain that's sub-irrigated instead of drained by the incised stream. So incised streams are a big problem in many parts of the world, especially semi-arid regions, and this guy's figured out how to fix them. And so we're going to be featuring films and information about Zedek and the things that he's discovered over the last 25 years of his career, and that'll just be one of the solutions. So anyway, I'm just excited because hardly anybody knows about Bill Zedek yet, and we're bringing him up there to attention.
And this is the exciting thing, I think, Michael, and why I love the fact that you're hosting this event where these conversations can happen. And it's also, a couple of weeks after, I'm hosting another event, an online event called the International Permaculture Festival of Wild and Kind Ideas. And the point being, for these type of events, is creating the connective tissue. There are people everywhere doing amazing projects, writing amazing stories and documenting this work. But how do we get that connective bit so that we're seeing each other, we're seeing the movement as a whole? How do we make that visible? How do we make it visible back to the people in the movement, but also to those who are looking for something else? And so that's the work where I feel like I sit quite a lot in, is that myceliation, helping to make things visible, helping to create that interstitial fabric that connects the threads of this work, as well as deeply living it as well. So it's super exciting to learn about very detailed projects and ways of doing things, because all of a sudden you think, oh my gosh, it's possible. And so if you've got someone who's coming in from a region that is experiencing devastation in their catchment and hasn't really got the knowledge, and they can connect in with this global movement that's not like a hierarchical system. It's this beautiful web of connections, and go, I can tap that person on the shoulder and ask for some help, or I can dive more into that resource. How do we make this visible? We have people everywhere doing great work. We just need to make it more visible, make it more accessible. And that's not by having one big organization that holds all of it and then sends out people. It's about connecting us all. And I think that's that piece of also the fair share ethic of permaculture. Like, how do we help to share this abundance of knowledge and skills and positivity and hope as well at the same time?
Michael, before you go, Michael, before you go, actually, for me, what attracted me to the event is that exactly that potential of joy. Like, I can't remember any permaculture events where you don't feel like the excitement and the happiness of people working together to find a solution. This like collaboration where competition doesn't really play the role that we're so used to see it play. So I'm loving the fact that the Convergence is on this beautiful site in your bioregion, Michael, and that around 400, 500 people are going to come, and that the joy and the excitement of connective tissuing together is also going to be, I think, contaminated the program online. So that I think for many of us who are still a little bit shy, since we don't learn permaculture in first grade, which we should, is that they can feel that this is going to be fun. It's very playful. It's very intuitive. Nobody makes a mistake, or everybody makes a mistake. So it's this really free form that people are, I guess a lot of us are not used to anymore because we're so constrained. So that's the offering, Michael. And you're offering at an amazingly $60 ticket for 3 days of incredible lecture that we're going to be able to play again. and to feel that we're part of the movement building with you and the team and Morag and all the great permaculturists that you have invited, all the indigenous elders who are also going to be sharing. It's just really incredible.
Yeah, well, so Morag, your thing sounds really great, and I hadn't known about it before now. So we want to publicize what you're doing on our site. So let's make a post about it, and we can just sort of cross post because we're both doing these really good online things. Ours is in person, but it also is online. We do have a big an Africa program with all these Africans, and then we have a program in Brazil that's in Portuguese and Spanish, and so anybody in the world can join in our thing. And if you're in a place where you don't have the enough, there's a lot of people in the world that can't even afford our low price, so anybody can ask for a free admission if they want to, and I don't mind advertising that. But of course, we do need the money. So any of you listening out there, if you can afford it, definitely pay, and if you can't, you should come anyway. And we do have a lot of indigenous people coming because, and it's often been said, and I've said it many times myself, that permaculture, as the word was only invented in 1975, let's say, but the concepts, a lot of the concepts behind it are age old, and a lot of it comes from what people have been doing for a long time. So we're reinforcing traditional systems and indigenous systems, and the indigenous people of the world was looking really good before the colonialists came along and the empire builders. And so we want to have the world be not just a garden or a farm, but we want it to be full of wildness and wild creatures, but also abundant in food. So we can have systems that look like, you might say, look like wild. It's interesting that when the colonists came to the U.S., they said, "Oh my God, look at this splendid wilderness with big trees and lots of this and lots of that," and it was so lovely. Well, that's because the native people, the indigenous people, knew how to work with the system. And so we're really promoting the indigenous way of the heart, and also the way of working with the land and being in respect to it. And we're all in kinship. That's one of the
that's the
messages
perfect
in
word.
indigenous people is we're all kin. All the living creatures, the lands, the waters, we're all related, and we should respect all.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to end. Kinship. Is that the word
and
that you choose?
also reminding us how to be really truly human.
Heart. To heal together. Thank you so much, the two of you. We can't wait. And anything we can do to get more people on board, we'd be happy to do.
Okay.
And thank you for all the efforts that the two of you are making to bring more people on board. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for